because you guys are the front lines. This is a mental health crisis, so it's a priority that we focus on healing the healers. And what I mean by that is focus explicitly on restoring and sustaining the adults who attempt to heal our youth. And I want our admin to know this. I want the leaders who are guiding you to know this, because if we are not well, if we are showing up to work burnt out, if we're showing up to work stressed, how well can I truly support that next generation, right? And we play a pivotal role in that creation, and it's necessary that we begin to focus on doing things that are going to help us become well. So this is not a blueprint. This is not just a guide of tools, but it's an invitation for you to begin to take a journey that me and Brother Mike know will profoundly shift wherever you are to a greater version of yourself, because our kids not only need your knowledge, they need the reflection of what healing looks like. That makes sense, family? Perfect. So I'm going to get this party started. Raise your hand real quick if you chose to be a counselor because you believe that you had the ability to transform, to support the healing of the youth that you were going to serve. Raise your hand if you believe that you had the ability, right? Now look around the room. I'll say about 80%. Now, do me a quick favor. Can you point to the individual where that healing and transformation has to begin first? Can you point to that person? Ain't that right? And that's something I want you guys to never forget, because in order for us to transform our families and awaken our families, our schools and communities, we must first transform and awaken ourselves. I don't know if you heard me. I'm going to say that one more time. We must transform and awaken ourselves, right? And this is important because we need to take the time to put the mask on ourselves to breathe before I'm putting that mask on to everybody else around me. I have to learn to fill my cup up before I'm filling up this empty cup to everybody else. And I'm going to challenge us all. Can we be a little bit more selfish with our self-care to be selfless to those that we are serving? Because I was doing a great job as a youth development specialist, working in Asbury Park High School, serving the youth. But I realized all of that truly changed when I decided to put myself first and to work on my well-being. And it makes me think about my childhood when growing up with my mother. I could tell significantly when she got done praying or coming from church, it'd be a different energy that I would feel being around my mom. Versus when my parents would get into an argument, she'd be burnt out from her job working. I can feel the effect that had on my nervous system. And when I look back in my elder years, it's like, oh yeah, when I was acting up the most in school, that's when my house was the most volatile. And when I was able to be grounded and calm, that's when I noticed there was a level of peace in my household. And something that we have to think about for us is our youth are learning how to regulate their nervous system based upon the nervous system of the adults around them. So I became a reflection of my home, my environment, my parents. And thankfully, I had great counselors. I had great educators that would sit me down on those rough days that would support me. But we have to be aware then, what is the energy that my nervous system is carrying into schools right now? After this pandemic, raising my children, raising my family, dealing with the loss, dealing with the grief, dealing with the suicides in my school, right? How is that impacting me? And I'm showing up because our energy is contagious. And there's some innovative research that's done by a group called Heart Math Institute. If you could write that down for your own further reflection, they have been doing work for the past 30 years that they've been showing that your heart is more than just a pump that circulates blood throughout your body. Your heart generates the strongest electromagnetic field that can be felt up to 30 feet around you. So what they're essentially saying is the thoughts that you think creates the emotion, and that affects the energy of that field. It creates a vibration. You ever meet a student and you can sometimes, some of our counselors are very intuitive. They're telling you that they're okay, but you get a vibe that something may be a little bit off, right? What is that vibe? A vibe is a vibration. A vibration carries frequency, and frequency carries information. And when you walk into a room, we have to start to ask ourselves, man, what is the energy I'm bringing into this space? When I'm sitting down with a student one-on-one, I may intellectually have all of my knowledge and my degree down pat, but what is my heart emitting and showing to the youth that I'm serving. And I look back when I was starting my journey as a youth development specialist, I was working with youth, graduated college, and a lot of the things that I dealt with in my childhood, the coping skills that I learned were not serving me, and I definitely couldn't tell the youth to do the same thing. So that's when I really began to know that I had to change things so that I could emit a different energy space to the youth that I'm serving. So take a step back to think to yourself, when I'm waking up every morning, when I'm leaving my household, what energy am I bringing into my job, and what energy am I leaving with my job, to my children, to my families? And that's the first takeaway I want you guys to realize is, can we prioritize our self-care so that I could be in a state of energy that is truly supportive to everyone that I'm serving? And I'm not talking about a wine night with your friends. I'm not talking about sitting back watching some Netflix. I'm talking about when me and Mike prepare for a keynote, we're going to a sauna. Last night, we went to a float tank. You know, Brother Mike, he does sound healing. You know, we have places that you can go that are truly going to restore you. Try some acupuncture. Try doing a little nature hike, but things that are truly going to transform you and embody a deeper level of self-care.